that drive there, because it's a fucking 8-hour drive, terrified. I had to become a man on that drive because every hour I got closer to Buffalo, I lost 5 years in age. I went from 24 to 19, and then from 19 down. If I walked in that fucking door, I was 8 again. And my mind was like, it was just fucking, but when I left, I got 10 years back. I became an old man in my mind. 100%, with everybody in this fucking room. I'm not a shrink, I don't fucking know all that shit, but I know one thing, I'm not a practitioner. Well, I am a practitioner. Most people study shit. I actually got a chance to live it, feel it, sense it, be in it, feel the emotion of it all. And that's why I can talk about it the way I do, because I know how most people feel who are fucked up. Well, the most important thing about all that is you have to go, there's always a blockade. There's a barrier in your brain. There's a barrier. You got to find out what kind of removes that barrier from your brain. My biggest barrier was my father. And once I removed that barrier, I was free to think. And once I felt good about myself, I was free to put action in. I never felt good about myself. I never felt good about myself. Whenever I would get somewhere, the demon would come back, pull me right back in the cage. If you don't go back, like I'm a runner, left knee hurts. A lot of people focus on that fucking left knee. A lot of times it's your fucking right hip. And that's about life. You gotta figure out what has messed you up mentally. Go to the source. Go to the origin of the source. Every single thing I've ever done that's in that book or anywhere else was on my own. Everything. And my mom knew about none of this because I felt so sorry for her and how she grew up. Or kind of grew up because she was 19 when she met my father. And I saw this young woman just become a shell of herself. She's 72 now and still, she has everything. Everything. And she still lives back there. Cannot live in the present where she has everything. All the money she wants, she's healthier than me, everything. But the demon brings her back in the cage. So many things. But I'm able, man, you know how Stephen Hawking, brilliant mind, right? In a wheelchair. One of the smartest men ever lived. I have a mind that's very different than most people. And I have about, while I'm sane, so don't take it, oh my God, David said like 4 personalities. I'm able to realize I'm gonna be out here for fucking 70 hours. I'm able to go to a place that's so fucking gone, I become a robot. An actual robot. Seriously, I know it's like, you're fucking nuts. No, I become a robot. I don't think. I invented this thing called the cookie jar when I was growing up. You know how your mom, we were real poor, and she would go by and get these fucking cheap ass cookies from Aldi's, which is like a generic grocery store. And like 50-cent cookies, and she would just dump them in this cookie jar. So sometimes you reach in the cookie jar and you pull out a fucking mint cookie, maybe a chocolate chip, maybe a peanut butter. So my cookie jar is, we forget how badass we are in hard times. And that cookie jar, look at it as a fortune cookie. You reach in that motherfucker, you pull out a fortune cookie and you read it. What we do in life is, we've all gone through suffering. We've all gone through hard times and we've made it. But when you're in the midst of suffering, what our mind does is this. You think about the now and there's no strength in it. God, I'm going through cancer, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. What I've learned to do in hard times is take a step back, give myself, it's called my 1-second decision. I take a step back before I want to quit something, before something gets hard, I say, hang on there. You taught yourself how to swim, how to read and write. You went through 3 fucking Navy SEAL Hell Weeks. You went through Ranger School, you went to Delta Force selection twice. You've run 200 miles, you run 256 miles, you've done 4,000. Those are cookies. When you're running fucking a 7K while we laugh about it, it's all relative. And you're fucking hurting, you've had cancer 3 fucking times. And you're here. It's a big fucking cookie, man. So you reach in your fucking mental cookie jar, you pull that motherfucker out and you read it. Lost my brother. Cancer, not once, not twice, 3 times. And I'm still fucking here. And I'll know the rest of your life, that's just a snippet of what I fucking know. So that's what I do when times get hard, is I remind myself I'm a bad motherfucker.
Life is suffering. Right, indisputable. What do you do about that? You voluntarily accept it and then strive to overcome the suffering that's a consequence of that. And you do that for you, and you do that in a way that makes it better for other people. And then that works. And one question might be, well, how well does it work? And the answer is, the only way that you can find out is by trying it. That's it. That's the existential element of it. The proof is to be derived by the incarnation of the attitude in your own life. No one can tell you how it will work for you. It's the thing that your destiny is to discover that. And you have to make the decisions to begin with. It's like, because you can't do this without commitment. You have to commit to it first. That's the act of faith that Kierkegaard was so insistent upon. You have to say, I'm going to act as if being is good. I'm going to act as if truth is the pathway to enlightenment. I'm going to act as if I should pursue the deepest meaning possible in my life. And there's reasons to do none of those. They're real reasons. So it's really a decision. But you can't find out what the consequence of the decision is unless you make the decision. The point is that there's some games you don't get to play unless you're all in. And the other thing that's so interesting about being alive is that you're all in. No matter what you do, you're all in. This is going to kill you. So I think you might as well play the most magnificent game you can while you're waiting. Because do you have anything better to do? Really? Why not pick the best thing possible that you could do? Why not do that? Maybe you could justify your wretched existence to yourself that way. I think you could. That's what it looks like. You know, people find such meaning in the responsibilities they adopt, it stops making them ask questions about what life is for. If you have a newborn child, for example, like unless you're really in a bad way, psychotically depressed, or maybe your personality really needs some retooling, you stop thinking about anything but ensuring that that baby is doing well. And if someone comes along and asks you an existential question about your commitment to that, the right response is, why are you asking me such stupid questions when this is manifesting itself right in front of your eyes? Like, how blind can you be? That isn't a time for questions about the meaning of life. The answer is right in front of you. And if you can't see it, it's not because life has no meaning, it's because you're blind. I mean, that's what the image of the Virgin Mother and the child is all about. It's like, what's the answer to the meaning of life? Here's an answer. It's like, well, I'm going to criticize that. Well, go right ahead. And it's the same thing with regards to the path of the hero. It's like, it glistens in front of you and you can criticize it. It's like, fine. Put the cart before the horse and see how far you get. But it seemed to me, as I delved into it, that the proper solution to that was to live properly as an individual, because you're more powerful than you think. Way more powerful than you think. I mean, God only knows what you are in the final analysis. You're blind to your own weaknesses, but you're also blind to your own strengths. And so then I think, well, if you got your act together, it'd be better for you, and instantly it would be better for your family, assuming they wanted you to get your act together, and not everyone does, and then it would be better for the community. It's like, how far could you take that? If you stopped wasting time, and if you stopped lying, and if you oriented yourself to the highest possible good that you could conceive of, and you committed to that, how much good could you do? Well, I would say, why don't you find out? So that's what I think you should do. You should find out. You don't have anything better to do, and there's nothing in it, as far as I've been able to tell, there's nothing in it but good.